So,
Hey, that was a good shot.
okay. So that last little bit, yeah, Patrick. Yeah. So that last little bit that we've done, and Emily, we're on page 206. You feeling better? That other bit we did on the value of literature and the arts, remember, that was actually, it's kind of philosophical, but it was in the middle of what kind of a work? Yeah, a defense speech, right? Pro-arche. So we've had that before. Pro plus a person's name is a defense speech. What tells you that it's a prosecution speech? In, and then the person's name, in which case? Meme. Accusative, in Catalinum, prosecution speech. And then you get this philosophical stuff that all begins day something or the other. Right? Yes.
I'm sorry, what page?
Page 206. Day, you know, from ablative of place from which, day in that context means what, Eric?
Means from.
Means from in the sense of down from. But if you're not moving, all right, if you're not falling down from the tree, climbing down the mountain, that kind of thing, then day plus the ablative means of or about. Of or about. Okay? His philosophical stuff was usually titled that way. De whatever in the ablative case. He's got this piece, De senectute, which is simply of or about old age. And you see the root of senior and all that kind of stuff in there. So he writes his philosophical work on old age. And you had some questions there. In fact, I think, was it only questions? You didn't have any translation, right? It's just a question. All right? So question number 1. What kind of old age does Cicero praise? This is interesting. You may not have thought about the fact that there could be more than one sort of old age, but yes, Maxwell.
He praises the one that established the foundation of the youth.
Okay, literally, which has been established in the foundations of youth. Okay. So you look at that lines 1 and 2. He says, "Mementote, remember that I laudare, I praise this senectutem, this old age, that kind of old age, quae, which has been constituta sit, established," and never a bad time to review some grammar. Constituta sit is a what? Voice verb, active or passive. Shana, passive, which has been established in the fundamentis, in the foundations of adolescentia, of youth. Okay? Now, this gets back to what we were talking about yesterday. Right? Everybody's going to get old. But when you get there, if you've given no thought to it, and you've never given any consideration to how you might act or what you want your old age to be, it may not go that well. So the folks that have the biggest trouble winning the lottery, the folks that they get a ton of money all of a sudden and then have trouble with it, are the ones that usually are not that well grounded in the first place. They're like, oh my gosh, money! Ah! Yeah. Now wait a minute. All right, you can get a ton of money like that, and your life doesn't have to be wrecked. Right? If you know kind of who you are as a person, you're well established. You get this ton of money. Okay, well, that's good. And I'll take some of this money. I'll save some. I'll maybe buy my grandma a house with some of it. I'll do some things. You know, you got to plan for what you're going to do with it. But you don't just freak out because you go, oh, I got a bunch of money. And you've never given any consideration to your life. Right? It's the same thing with old age. Suddenly here you are, maybe you're retired, maybe you've got a little bit of disposable income, maybe you don't have to work for a living at this point, Maybe, you know, kids are grown, you got some more time freedom there. Well, what are you gonna do? You just, and sometimes I will say, you will see older people who actually end up with a fairly miserable old age. So they start squandering their time and squandering their money. And they're not really living because they've never given any thought to it whatsoever. It's like, oh, well, I got free time now, don't have kids, don't have a job, woo. And it can be, that can be fun, that can be great. But have you given any thought to it? He says, so I praise the kind of old age, which has really been established in the foundations of youth. You've been planning for your life as you go. Number 2, what kind of old age does he call wretched? What sort of age did he call, old age does he call wretched? We might want to talk about this one, Mr. Brown.
I feel like this has been a life class for the past week.
It has been until this question. Yeah, Leo.
I don't know how to translate it, but is it, Mr. Essays and the Tutum Quai Se Oriatione Defender?
Outstanding, Leo. That's exactly what it is. He says it is a miseram senectutem, miserable or wretched old age, which defenderet se, defends itself in oratione, in speech. Do not name, either by name or by relationship. Do not name anybody you know, especially from your family, who may fall into this category. But do you know people who, for them, old age is about, you do what I say, you respect me because I'm old. I know more than you do because I'm old. I'm right and you're wrong because I'm old. Have you ever seen that, encountered that? Again, don't throw anybody, especially a family member, under the bus. I think we all have. We've encountered that. And he says, now that, he says, a pretty pathetic sort of old age. It has to go around and constantly defend itself by speech, by constantly saying, old age is something, old age is something, old age is something, look at me, listen to me, blah, blah. He says, that's a little on the wretched side. Yeah.
I feel like we see that a lot more in like TV shows or movies than we do in actuality.
And I think that's great. I think that's wonderful if that's the case. And I hope that you haven't really seen that in actuality. And it is interesting, the stereotypes of old age. We've had in past years for Spirit Week, we have the different dress-up days. I don't know if you've been here when we've had Senior Citizen Day or something, whatever they call it. What's so funny is how, again, just the symbolism we use for old age. Out come the wigs, the white and gray-haired wigs.
The canes.
Out come the
The
canes.
suspenders.
Out come, guys with their pants riding up to here, right? There's a tendency to be bent over, quavery, right? One person one year was rolling around, it was this makeshift like oxygen tank. So this is, you all see, it's a great costume. The person really went detailed. But it's interesting, those are the stereotypes, right? Those are the symbols. You see that, you say old person. And so maybe, I like Drew's point, maybe in movies and TV, right, you see that stereotype maybe a little bit more. Hopefully, maybe you haven't experienced that personally. Cicero certainly says that's a little bit on the sad side. Yeah.
What lines was the line supported?
That was what Leo just read, line 3 and 4.
Okay.
Miseram through defenderet.
Okay.
Excellent question. What cannot suddenly claim authority? Number 3, Andrew.
White hair and wrinkles.
White hair and wrinkles.
Yeah, I'm that one.
Now, what I think it was in this class, somebody else did it in another class for one of the JCL art galleries. Did somebody in here have that quotation, illustrated quotation about the beard doesn't make the philosopher? Was that you? Same idea. Same idea. As the beard doesn't make the, just because you got beard doesn't mean you're smart or wise or deep thinker. And his point is, just because you got gray hair and wrinkles, that doesn't necessarily give you authority. Right? You can still be a horrible person. You can be an absolute wretch of a human being, and nobody should listen to you. So just because you are old doesn't automatically equate with authority. Yeah.
I'm confused. Okay, so why does he start talking about this? Like the whole old age stuff. Like where does this come up in a defense speech?
Oh, I'm saying no. This is his essay. Dave said he wrote a whole essay on
it's
old
an
age.
essay.
He wrote an essay. His whole thing is called On Old Age.
Okay.
Now I guess should have brought it in and didn't think about it today. I think it's I'm pretty sure this is right. This was the first book that was actually printed in the colonies, in the American colonies. It was a translation. Ben Franklin published it. He didn't translate it. But Ben Franklin published it, and it was the first book to be published here, a translation of Cicero's On Old Age. And the English translation was given to it, which I like even better than Cicero's, I like the English better, was On a Life Well Spent. Because that's really what the essay's about. It's about having a good life, learning to live well, so that when you get old, you've got a good life, you've got something to offer. Again, it's that whole package from cradle to grave sort of thing. So that's what it's a whole philosophical work. Number 4, what does give authority to age? What does give authority? If it's not white hair and wrinkles, Andrew?
Honorable deeds.
Honorable deeds. Actually, not just that, but it's the earlier age that has borne honorable deeds. So in other words, we're back to you again. It's the stuff that you've done throughout your life. And so now you're 65, 70 years old, and people say, for decades, this person has been a great person. She's been generous and kind. He's been encouraging and supporting, and yes, this is a person now that I want to listen to. Because certainly they got a lot of life experience, but they've also proved it over their life by the good fruit that they've borne. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really confused from his earlier passages. When it said, let's bring back to like old age kind of, like
Mhm.
how father is what you live for, and
Mhm.
that if you could make him happy, and how he doesn't bring materialistic happy, but like
Mhm.
food and sharing.
Right.
Important. Don't you need to do those? And doesn't that, like, that thing that makes you happy now make you into your father? You know what I'm saying? Cause like,
I don't know how to do on this one.
okay, so like, you teach and you like teaching, so
Okay.
that makes you happy right now. But yet, in your family, like when you're dead and like you remember things.
You remember, give Thomas what's said about you now and afterwards.
Yeah, so doesn't that mean that what makes you happy now in life, you have to do in order to have father? So like, people talk to you right
No,
when you're dead?
I'm not sure where the notion of doing something that makes you happy crept into it.
Because,
He didn't say that.
no, but like, he didn't like materialistic happiness.
Right. He saw that as lesser.
Yeah, but doesn't that equal to the others, to the afterlife happiness, because we need to do that happiness now. I can picture it in my head, I don't know.
If you can draw a picture of it, maybe you can show me, because I'm not really tracking with
So
that.
when they're down,
Maybe on kind of as we're going along here, and you can show me later. Number 5. What are the honors of age? Now this is interesting. We touched on this yesterday, because I was asking you, is there anything you're looking forward to after what are you afraid of that age? What are you looking forward to? You actually touched on some of these. What are the honors of age? And I find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 honors of age. Yes.
I don't have the translation, but it's communia solitari apete decadi asurgi eduki reduki consuli.
It's all at the top of page 207. All those first 6 words, salutari seven words. Salutari through consuli are all what parts of speech? They're infinitives of some kind. What kind of infinitives? Present, good. Active or passive? Passive. The present passive. How do you translate a present passive infinitive? No.
Bag.
To be. Portari, to be carried. Audiri, to be heard. Okay? So all of these are present passive infinitives. And he says these are the real honors of old age. And we're going to go through each one a little bit of time on each one. Salutari.
Pay respect.
To be
Pay respect.
paid respect or greeted. To be paid respect or to be greeted. I think maybe somebody you said this yesterday, I don't recall. One of the absolute worst things that old people tell us about old age is not being recognized. I've heard older people say this. You go through a store, your spouse has died. You're a widow or a widower, and you go out to eat alone. And they will tell you, people won't even notice you. If you're out with your friends, your family, and that kind of stuff, there's all this social stuff going around, and everybody sees and so forth. And I've had old people tell me this, that it's almost as if you're invisible. People just ignore you because you're alone, you're older, and so he says one of the marks of honor is to be greeted, to be acknowledged. Yeah.
Okay, cause like I always feel like really like uncomfortable kind of, cause like I feel so bad,
Yeah.
you know, that like I don't know what to do.
And honestly, I think that's as much a part of it as anything else. And I think it's true, like when we're being ill. That's why we don't want to go to the hospital. What do you say? That's why I don't want to go to the funeral home. What do you say? Right? It's just awkward, right? So I think there's that, on our end of it, there's very much that, and so forth. The fact of the matter is, you say what you'd say to anybody. If somebody's passing by, or maybe bump into someone, oh, excuse me. Hey, how you doing? Just throw this out there. Especially this time of year, talk to the clerks at the stores, especially the big stores like the Walmarts and the Targets and that. They're getting so much crap at this time of year.
People are rude.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm well aware of that.
Especially if I go into a store and it's any time in the evening. So like 7 o'clock or I'm after dinner, I'm going run out for an errand. I will typically ask the clerk, you know, how long you're working, what time's your shift in, because they're usually going, man, just a couple more hours and I'm off work. And it's just a moment of conversation in their day, because most of the time they're getting crap from people. And so again, I think whether it's elderly or otherwise, you can say a word like that. Yeah.
Like Pat Adams with Robin Williams, remember that
I
experience?
remember that. Yeah.
With like different interactions. And I remember like he said hi randomly, and it's an old lady.
Yeah.
Like he was upside down repeated it. And then it's like hi, and then later she walks and it's like, and she smiled at him.
Yeah.
It was so adorable.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So to be greeted, certainly. Apeti.
Yes.
What's that one? Yeah, Andrew.
To be sought out.
To be sought out. To be sought out. All right. We're gonna step on toes a little bit here. She'll literally will come over. Do you, if you have any of these people in your family, if any of these people are still living in your family, grandparents, great aunt, great uncle, people in that generation for you, do you only talk to, and don't answer, but do you only talk to them when you have to? Do you only talk to them when you're made to? When mom or dad says, hey, you need to call grandma and thank her for that birthday, or whatever. to actually seek out an old person, oh my gosh. The phone call from a grandson or granddaughter out, especially when it's out of nowhere. Especially if it's not around the holiday, or not around their birthday or your birthday, but just for no reason call. Wow, you were thinking about it. To be sought out, he says that's a real honor of old age. Decady, that's an interesting one. Decady, what's that one? What's decady? From decades, present, passive infinitive, as you said, from decado, decadera,
So, to stand,
to what?
like stand?
No. That's gonna be the next one.
Oh.
That's gonna be the next one. Decady. Yep. Okay, literally it's to be gotten out of the way for.
What's another one
So,
for that?
I don't know, how else would you say? So here's an older person and you step out of the way.
To be let through?
To be let through, maybe. Yeah, to be let through, to be given the preference to move on. So, Mr. Moore, you know, the muscle builder over here in H Hall.
Oh, I saw him in the morning at his workout.
Oh, he's a beast, isn't he?
Bobby,
He had like one thing,
He's
he
just,
like,
he's
now
just
he's
boom,
not
boom,
like-
boom, man. He's, oh, yeah, he's
doing like 25 on each arm.
oh, he's
doing like
it's
90.
ridiculous. So anyhow, oh no, I thought it was Mr. Moore who showed me this. No, actually, this is somebody else. It's the kind of thing he would have shown me though.
Yeah.
Some people had, on Black Friday, and you may have already looked at some of these Black Friday videos, some people had gone to malls just for the purpose of shooting video. They weren't really there to shop at all. They had a camera up and were filming the crowds.
I would do that.
And I don't know where some of these places were, I'd love to know. You can tell some of the stores, like, there was a couple I saw that were Best Buy, there was one big mall somewhere, so there's nowhere around here. But talk about the rudeness. Oh my gosh, the one in the mall, I think this was a mall. Was it a mall or Best Buy? Anyhow, as soon as the door opened, man, the crowd starts pushing in. Well, immediately, and she wasn't old, but some lady tripped and fell down. Man, they kept going. They kept going.
It's so sad.
And you're going, wow. So especially for an elderly person. Now, one of the things that you mentioned yesterday that you didn't want for your old age, you feared, and I kind of agree with it too, was going slow. Okay? Especially in a car, we hate that, going slow, especially in the left lane, that kind of thing.
Lambo, 25.
But,
Yeah, that's annoying.
out at the grocery store, out at the mall, in a family situation where maybe you got a bunch of family over for an event or whatever, it's obvious, you know why, but why are older people going to be moving more slowly?
And arthritis.
Well, yeah, just physical ailments, physical issues. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. I had a friend back when we were teaching in Missouri, and he would absolutely go off on his children. If he ever saw his wife enter, like the family room or whatever, and all the seats were occupied by his kids, and nobody got up for mom.
That's what my parents.
Oh, he would go off on his kids. You get up for mom. You get up for grandparents. You get up and you show some respect. Well, similarly, asurgi. Now, number 4, this is a different one, maybe in our culture, but asurgi. Did anybody find it yet?
To rise up.
To rise up, literally to be raised up for.
Ah.
So the idea is when somebody of importance comes into, if Dr. Woodson came walking into this room, who she's our superintendent of schools, if the President of the United States, if the Queen of England came walking, some dignitary comes walking in. Well, here's the thing, you know what the protocol is? You stand up. You stand up. Because sitting down is a casual gesture, which is why Caesar remained seated in the Senate. And that's what really made people so mad. That was his arrogance as a dictator. He simply took a seat and sat there. All the people were coming in, and he should have stood to show respect to the fellow senator. And they saw that as a sign of his tyranny. You don't get up for somebody, show respect, especially if there's a seat issue, give them a seat. De Dookie, Ray Dookie. Now, these two kind of go together.
Wait,
Yes.
is that the case of, the Pledge of Allegiance? Like, is that the?
Yes, absolutely. That's why it's part of the reason you're standing with the Pledge of Allegiance. It's a respect sort of thing. These two really go together. They're a pair. De Dookie, Ray Dookie. Yes.
It's in the footnote, but it's like the.
That's right. Take you down to the forum and lead you back from the forum. All right. So, where could you play this one out? Obviously, the forum thing, that's not relevant to our context. Where could you play this out, Drew?
Well, my great grandma, she's like 95.
Mhm.
She lives in a senior home, and so sometimes she has to have help to
Okay.
walk to the cafeteria that they have.
Okay. And if you're there, give her an arm, give her an elbow, yeah?
Like if you're going somewhere with your grandparents, you like open the door for them, tell them to get
That's
in the
nice.
car.
Yeah, open the door for them.
Yeah, walk them back, and then like walk them
Yeah,
back.
yeah, Patrick.
Like helping the old lady across the street.
Well, there is that kind of, maybe that's, again, stereotype sort of thing, but helping an old lady across the street really does kind of come from this sort of thing. Leo?
Like at Christmas, when parents would come and they used to like bring these presents and like wrap them and put them in the back pocket. And then after like go
And yeah, do carry their stuff in, carry their luggage in, if they're going to stay with you. What would be a parallel to leading an elderly person to the forum and back again?
Oh, okay.
For us, yeah, I understand. That's just general respect right there. You walk on the outside. You walk on the outside so stuff does not splash up. That's exactly right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
We would always bring all the all the decorations downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of like, okay, come up here, we made a certain
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. You know why a lot of people, older folks, don't get the medical care they need?
There's no one to take them.
Either no one can take them there, or even if they could go themselves, who wants to go alone? It's one of those kinds of things. It's scary, it's intimidating, you're alone, and sometimes they're afraid, again, you're concerned about them being slow, they're concerned about the rest of the world being fast. Doctor's gonna throw a whole bunch of information at me, I'm not gonna understand it all, I don't get all this stuff with the insurance or whatever. If I had somebody to go with me, I'd go. The number of elderly people, again, I've talked to elderly folks who just, I'm not gonna do it. It's not that bad, I'll let it go, and of course it might be something significant, but they just need somebody to go with them, take them there and take them back. How about the last one, cone sword? Cone sword. Yes, sir.
So seek your advice.
To be sought out, yeah, it's kind of like a petty, but more in the sense of exactly what you said, to have their advice asked for. To have their advice asked for. So, my dad has passed away now, but he passed away in 2009. But I remember in both probably the last couple of years before he passed away, we'd go visit, we'd be down in my parents' part of the state. I knew where I was, I knew where I was going, I knew the roads, good grief, I grew up there. But my dad would maybe sit in the front seat beside me, and he would want to tell me where to go, what exits to use, and you better get in this lane now, you know. And initially there's that, you can be told, I'm a grown adult, I know how to drive, thank you very much. And then it occurred to me, actually, rather than have that reaction, I actually would ask him sometimes, do you think I should take this next exit? I need to check something. But the sense of there's a need for instance, there's something that you can contribute. I can't hurry to take it. I'm not needed. Kids are grown. I don't have a role to play. I don't have my job. I'm retired. huge thing for older folks. Yeah.
Isn't it, like, if you kinda like, people with like
Mhm.
and like really cool, does it mean that you kind of know what you're is that like,
No, I think, yeah. I don't think it's mean. I think it's more like what Emerson was saying. I think there's just there's kind of the awkwardness.
no, also like,
What I would encourage you is if you can find a way maybe to push past that, because that time will come, of course, and you can't go back. Yeah.
This is something that I told Mom because like that happened to me last year. Like my great grandmother,
Mm.
she was in the nursing home and like she was like to the point where she wouldn't talk anymore and it's like that wasn't like her. She used to cuss a lot. We used to call her Sam. Like that's all she would cuss. But like it was to the point where it's like, oh my gosh, this is not her. I don't want to see her like this. And so like took all of me to go see her and then I went to go see her and then like 2 days later she had passed away. So I was really glad I went.
You were glad that you had
Yeah.
that opportunity. Yeah, Patrick.
So in like ancient Rome, I feel like that wouldn't have been as much the case, because it seems like all the old people we talk about were like either Senate or like wise men or something people consulted about.
Glad you brought that up. Question number 6. Describe what happened with the Athenians, the Spartans, and the old men. That sounds like the title of a children's book or something. The Athenians, the Spartan, and the old man.
I feel like
Turn the
it's
page.
I think it's too long.
Okay, children. You know how kindergarten teachers, they could read sideways? You know,
I
so
love
they-
that.
The Athenians saw the old man.
You gotta lick your finger
The old man was very old.
Really?
His hair was very
His
long.
hair was very
His beard was
as
very
white as
No.
yeah, you know, right. It sounds like
I
kids'
could
book.
picture that book in your hand, like right there. Like, I imagine like all the pictures.
You got a great imagination.
You should do that. with
Gotta
your
tell you.
houses, just like-
Got it, Ron. I don't know. I don't know if I can tell you this story.
You have to now.
I don't know if I can tell it because I'm gonna tear up. I'm not gonna kid you.
Oh, well, you're gonna cry.
I'm gonna. I'm seriously.
No, don't. Please don't cry.
Years ago, we were here at North Central. Latin was not always in this room. We used to be over in J Hall in Miss Bright's English room. Miss Martin, right? J626 is where we were. And we were given one of the state tests that we used to give back in that time. And there was a writing component. They actually had to write an essay or something.
In Latin?
No, this was one of the state tests, like ISTEP or something. And one of my homeroom guys, he raised his hand. He called me over. And the writing prompt was something like, you've gone on a trip to a dairy farm, write about your day or something. There's something. Raised his hand. He whispers, he says, I didn't go on that trip. And I'm like, and I caught myself one time. I said, oh, I said, just imagine, just pretend, you know. He's like, oh, okay. Your imagination is what I'm thinking. I thought, my goodness, how sad. This young man didn't have the capacity to imagine. That's part of childhood. And it serves you well. I guarantee you, Steve Jobs had a great imagination as a kid. And great scientists will tell you to pair imagination with technology. That's, again, science. Again, Einstein. Some of his stuff was creative leaps, intuitive, imaginative leaps in his scientific thinking. So not to have imagination is a very, very, very sad thing. And then the other part of the story, I've told that story numerous times to people. As I was moving away, I realized, I noticed the ankle bracelet that he wore. He was on house arrest. And I got thinking about that, and I thought, here's this young man, and probably in his sophomore homeroom, I'm guessing. But he lacked that imagination. And then I saw also the path that his life had started to take already. This young man had been in trouble with the law to the point that he had to wear the ankle bracelet for house arrest. I thought, again, what a sad thing. So I think going back to the literature thing, I think, again, imaginative reading, imaginative play, certainly when you're a kid, and don't even lose a sense of play when you're an adult. So I think that's important. Yeah.
In third grade, we had to write an essay about something fun we did with our parents.
Mhm.
But I totally forgot about that and wrote a Tom and Jerry episode. And my teacher gave me a C for the good imagination.
We might want to get you on the therapist's couch there, Patrick.
So,
Imagine this family story of a Tom and Jerry episode.
If you just get like a Tom and Jerry episode, at least I'm curious.
At least you're homework. Nice.
And that's what I was
Nice.
describing
Well, we gotta get the story of the
like
old,
base.
the Athenians, Spartan, the old man, real quick. Yes, go ahead.
Wait, so how did you meet the kid again?
No, he was in my homeroom. I said,
Oh, he had still already been in trouble with the law.
oh yeah, while he was sitting there, I looked down at his pant leg and I saw that he had the device on for being under house arrest.
Right, I didn't think you could still go to school.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, obviously it depends on the severity and the nature and so forth. You can. Right, moving on. Well, did anybody figure it out? The story of the Athenians, Spartan, and the old man. Jacob.
Go to the
Jacob.
go to the theater in Athens, and they wouldn't let him sit down. But then he went to like, I don't know where the other place he went to.
Well, same theater, but he went among the Spartans and.
Oh, and all of them offered him a seat.
Okay. Now, when you think about Athens and Sparta, again, we're talking stereotypes, but they're well founded. When you think of Sparta, you think of what? Violence, warriors. It was a warlike culture. They were proud of it, right? It was that whole come back carrying your shield or being carried on it with your wounds in the front. That's what Spartan mothers said to their sons. Tough culture. When you think of Athens, you think of what?
Great education.
Education, wisdom, philosophers, that kind of stuff. And the story went around that there was this event, this play, old man was coming up into the stands, and all the Athenians stayed seated. Didn't give the old man a seat. Passed by a bunch of Spartans, and these soldiers, these warriors, immediately stood up, all of them. Said, have a seat. And the Spartans kind of mocked the Athenians a little bit. You know, you're supposed to be so wise. Yeah. Where's the proof of it? Yeah.
Well, like, since like Sparta had a military culture, I think like it was attributed to that.
I would think so, and you would know that from ROTC and right.
Yeah, military
Yeah.
was based off of solely on respect.
Yeah. Do you know Christian Weems?
Yeah.
Okay. He was wearing his
He was in
stuff
my
today.
class, yeah.
How come you're not wearing his stuff?
I missed class too.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yes.
Would it also be because like the reason why Athens didn't do it is because they were like on like the democracy, and so they saw everyone as equal, and therefore.
And now that's possible. And again, this is one of those stories that got told. Who knows the truth or the details of it? But one of those things. All right, we actually got to shift gears. So,
We're gonna talk about
here it is.
friendship.
Friendship. Your homework tonight is not questions. It is the translation of that bit there on page 207. Okay? And the way we're going to do it, can't really break this in a different way. So, Margaret through Leah to the window. You guys, Margaret to Leah through the window, right there. You take it through the beginning of line 7. Stop with temeritate. Stop with the word temeritate. Page 207. It's that passage at the bottom, and you stop with the second word in line 7. From Maxwell to Janae over to the board, you pick it up in the middle of line 7, qui autem, through the end. Okay? That way we got the whole thing from the two halves.
Through the end of like 18 or through the end of 13?
Through the end of line 13.
Like
To the end of line 13, yeah. And we're departed at the bottom of the page, not at the top. Down to the bottom, friendship. Okay? Now, want to introduce and talk about that a little bit. Janae, if you would, Go ahead and hit the stop button.
Crunch of a smash it.
All right. This sounds